Welcome back to Built on Blues. I'm your host, Graeme Bryks. Usually, when I talk to an HVAC owner, they tell me they started carrying tools when they were 12. But my guest today didn't start in a crawl space. She started under the Golden Arches. She went from a crew member at McDonald's to running a 10 million franchise, then pivoting to owning Pandora jewelry stores, and then decided to conquer the mechanical world with Eagle Pipe Heating and Air. She is the 2022 Service Nation Woman of the Year and the past president of Women in HVACR. Lori Scholl, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Happy to be here and kind of share my story with some of your listeners.
Yeah, of course. No, that's a crazy story going from McDonald's to Pandora to now HVAC. I don't think I've ever heard anyone doing something like that, and especially how successful you were with doing it. I have you started with the McDonald's chapter. You spent 35 years climbing that ladder. McDonald's is a famous because a 16-year-old can run a store because the systems are perfect. When you walked into the HVAC industry, which is notorious for being chaotic and fly by the seat on your pants, did you look around and say, "Where's the manual?" How hard was it to bring that franchise discipline into a blue collar trade?
Yeah, it was a challenge because I had to learn and understand the business first. So you can't walk into any business without learning and understanding what whether it's your technicians or operations manager, whatever they do that they've been involved in the trades. You can't just walk in there and say, "Hey, let me show you a manual or let me give you a process or procedure." So I had to learn that. So when I started in I call it my HVAC world, I had to go out and get myself trained up so that I could use all of the cool things that I had learned on processes, procedures with McDonald's. And also, Pandora had a lot of very specific retail requirements that I could bring into the company that I had started and founded back in 2015.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Would you say that you learning those systems in McDonald's and Pandora, like, are just really unique, going from those industries right into HVAC? Like, that's a crazy switch up. Would you say that because of the systems that you're almost able to, like, infiltrate almost any industry if you do have the right systems in place?
I agree, 100%. If you read the E-Myth and they talk about, repetition and those type of things. So, McDonald's was huge processes, procedures, and they have to be because all over the world, in different countries, there might be a little bit of a change, but it's basically processes, procedures, whatever we do. It's how you make
Mhm.
French fries, it's how you make hamburgers, it's how you greet that customer, those type of things. And so those were, so many years of learning, having an operations manual that if we weren't sure, we could check with folks from corporate. When I became a owner operator, then it really changed for me because instead of me being a corporate employee, now these were my employees. I owned the business. This was my business. And so all of those things carried over. I kind of have a entire story. It's called Burgers to Bangles to Pipes, a lifelong business lesson. And the reason why I say that is because the burgers were McDonald's, started off there. The Bangles were Pandora, and of course, the pipe is for Eagle Pipe because Eagle Pipe, we started out as a gas piping company. But what I found is if I'm going ahead and I'm working the drive-through or the front counter and I'm like, "Hi, can I take your order, please?" And the customer says, "I want a Big Mac," whatever that sandwich is, right away, I'm going to get into my mode of, would you like something to drink with that? Would you like a dessert? Whatever that is, you're going to upsell that sandwich.
Yeah.
Would you like a combo meal? It's no different. Pandora jewelry stores. You're going to start high on a gold bracelet, then you're going to move into a two-tone bracelet. And knowing that customer, because with retail, you have more of an opportunity to work with them versus a McDonald's. It's an order, you know, customer what they want, get them taken care of. Jewelry, you're spending a lot more money. So then you're going to say, okay, so you want this silver bracelet. Well, you need a couple clips. You need, a safety chain. It's no different. It's no different than
Mhm.
adding an apple pie or fries. Now you're adding safety chains and clips and the whole bit. Just like when your HVAC folks go out, if your comfort advisor is making sure their ductwork is correct, do they need to upgrade their thermostat? Do they need indoor air quality? It's all the same. I always say business is business. And if you have strong processes and procedures, then you'll be successful in any area you go into.
No, yeah, that's amazing. I find it's really understanding your audience or your customer, your target customer. Like you said, going from like, McDonald's is, you're not really with the customer. You're just like, oh, would you like this with your meal, or would you like
Sure.
an extra fries or all that kind of stuff? Going into Pandora, like you said, like you're spending a lot more time with that customer when it comes to their high paying, their, luxury bracelets and all that kind of stuff, to then HVAC, where it's a lot more person to person and helping fix whatever they got going on, and, making sure that they're handled properly. You guys specialize in the heat pumps. That technology has moved so fast. It's basically computers sitting outside your house now. From the homeowners listening who still think furnace equals fire, can you break down the science? Why is the heat pump the future for our climate? And is it harder to find techs who understand the electronics versus the plumbing?
So efficiency. That's all. Yeah, I mean, heat pump, that's what comes to mind. I will tell you, my home personally, it's called dual fuel. I have a ducted furnace. I have a heat pump, and I also have Mitsubishi up in my office. So my biggest intro to a heat pump was personally because I was blowing through $1,200 a month in propane. $1,200 a month. I have a large house with a lot of windows, and it was just and finally I said, "Oh my god, I can't afford this anymore." And when I got started in this industry, it was because of my brother who was in the trades. The first thing he said to me is, "You need a heat pump." Well, my gosh, I added a heat pump onto my, furnace, and next thing I know, the heat pump is taking the bulk of things. The furnace is only kicking in when it's going into emergency heat, and my bills went from 12 to 1,300 in propane down to next to nothing. And of course, my energy bill went up a little bit, but not to the point where it was unaffordable. So nowadays, we look at the efficiencies, and anybody that has a system in our area, it's closer to 12 or 15 years old. We're
Mhm.
absolutely recommending heat pumps. And, whether it's the heat pump, whether it's ductless, we sell a ton of Mitsubishi and really like that brand. But I think it's more of the customer understanding. And so many people like, okay, I don't want air conditioning. So where I live outside of Seattle, people like, I don't need AC. Well, guess what? If you're doing ductless, you get both. Well, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? It
You're
comes with
getting
it.
it either way. Yeah.
You're getting it either way, and the technology that evolves. So I think when I look at the technicians, I've got some guys who have worked for me for a while, and it's a matter of it's getting the latest, the greatest, the current, getting to your distribution, getting to those training classes, knowing how to troubleshoot. You just can't go out on a job and, "Hey, let me chat GPT this." I mean, might help, but you need to understand the mechanics of them. And I think our suppliers, they do a great job with that, especially if they come out with a new model. They come out with a new model, and we need to understand how we have to set different settings and things like that. I think as long as the technician learns, they're great at it. Customers that we work with, we sell a lot of heat pumps. It's because we're in more of a mild climate. So we're never freezing, and it's not so hot. And it's the area we live in. So we sell more heat pumps than we do gas furnaces or electric furnaces or some of the other items out there.
Yeah. I really do believe that when it comes to communication and almost educating, that it's really important. I feel like business, that is probably the number one thing personally, I believe, when it comes down to, providing a product or providing a service. Is really anything in business, communication, having that strong line of communication and being upfront, honest, and transparent is super important. Is tough that you got a lot of incoming calls. People sometimes don't answer. A lot with AI now, you hear people using these receptionists and all this kind of stuff. Do you guys have a system in place where it qualifies people or answers them their questions 24/7, or do you guys have a good dispatch already in place for human connection?
We have both. So I love human to human connection. And even though we're living in this world, all of AI, in fact, I had a conversation this morning with my ops manager. And I'm actually looking at changing the company that's currently providing our AI for us in terms of answering, moving into a much more advanced company. And the first thing she said to me was, I know this really good call center. And I said, this is 2026.
You don't need that call center no
I
more.
said, you have to understand that. So I have a great CSR. Our goal is that she answers the call first. So you have that human to human
Mhm,
connection. We started using AI a couple years ago. And so, like, now it's the hottest thing out there, but we immediately jumped on that. I like to think my connections being in national, excuse me, national leadership roles have allowed me the ability to see kind of what's up and coming. So the
mhm.
minute it came out, I was like, we're jumping on this because
Get on
I
this.
wanted to make sure that if we had a system for overflow, it doesn't happen very often, but we can get 3 calls coming in at the same time. And we use
Yeah.
Service Titan. So we can see the calls coming in. Well, sometimes one can answer one, sometimes somebody can answer a second one. We don't know that if we can get to the third one. So AI instantly picks all that up for us. And then nights and weekends. I don't like to work my guys 24/7 just because I
Mhm,
think it leads to burnout, quality of life. We will do some rotations like when the weather's really cold or really hot and we know we're going to have a surge. But other than that, sometimes they work 4 10-hour days. So we always have our phones covered 24/7. And if it's not a CSR on it, it could be me on a weekend. The challenge we have is AI needs to be able to work with keywords. So if the customer says, this is an emergency, that call goes to a live person. And if they
yeah,
don't, then it could get scheduled or maybe it doesn't get really taken care of until that month. If they say, well, I'd like you to come out and look at my heat pump, it's like, not an emergency, no big deal, 50 degrees out, not the end of
mhm,
the world.
yeah.
So it's constantly evolving. I just did a demo yesterday with another company, and I'm actually looking to move forward with them. They're way more advanced, and as I grow my business, they're going to be able to help accommodate me. And I like that they can do outbound calls for us because not everybody likes to do that outbound call. We call them happy calls after the customer has had their furnace installed, their heat pump, whatever the case is, call them to make sure that they're 100% satisfied. But we can do outbound calls and we can also do a lot of messaging. So I'm looking forward to probably changing that up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I love how hearing how proactive you guys are with it. I didn't even know about this a few years ago, so the fact that you already knew about AI and all that kind of stuff is obviously really impressed and how you guys already implemented it. I believe that people should be implementing in it as soon as possible because as with you, you were able to grow with it rather than people who don't implement it now and are still kind of like half like just dipping their toe in the water with it. It's like once it's, like, improved so much this year, you're still gonna be kinda, like, left behind. Sure, it would be, like, people would get someone to do it for you and all that kinda stuff, but still just, like, implementing it into your system. The AI will learn your systems, will learn the calls that people are coming in with and all that kinda stuff. And I also wanna touch up on how you said that you don't wanna work you guys 24/7. Like, you can obviously go to those call centers and all that kinda stuff. People can have bad days and everything, but I was just on a podcast with a home builder, custom home builder yesterday, and he was saying how like important it is to actually, you can be in the grind, you could love the grind, work 24/7, but you still need those times off with your family and like making sure you have a good quality of life and making sure that the people that are working with you also have a good quality of life. So I really believe that AI has given us the opportunity to, let it take over those simple tasks, those
Yes.
like not meaningful, but, the ones that are just like, "Oh, I have to, like, write this email for half an hour, or have to go summarize this for half an hour." It'll just do those in seconds, and now you have an extra 2 hours of your day to actually go spend time with your family or spend time doing the things you like to do and actually have a better quality of life. So, yeah, I'm a big believer on AI, and I think it's gonna be great for everyone who does use it.
I agree. And at trades, we tend to not jump into a lot of that stuff very quickly because generally it's the generational company where maybe a younger son, daughter, sibling comes in, takes over, and they tend to push that further and farther than, maybe somebody who has been sitting in that seat, who was that person that got out of the truck and built the company. So I think we have to look at the individuals and the impact it makes on them. And I work with a company, it's called CI Web, and they are a marketing and advertising agency. But what they
Mhm.
do is they do AI incredibly well as they build their websites. The other thing is they have started not only a Facebook group, but also training. It's called Just Start AI. And that can give you training and all things specifically for the trades. Because if you just jump on an AI class, they can tell you the basics. This is built specifically for the trades. And most of the folks in this are HVAC, plumbing, they're contractors, and they want to learn, like everybody else, how they can improve their business with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's really important, especially it's nice to know that there are recommendations that you can provide when it comes to learning more about AI. And I'm glad that there are people out there like, teaching it to specific trades because, a lot of people kind of leave the blue collar guys out of it because they're like, oh, like, how is AI supposed to go do that? But there are a lot of things that AI can do in the blue collar world that will help. I want to go into the women in HVACR.
Mhm.
You were a past president. It's a huge
Yeah,
platform, but I feel like some of our guests don't know exactly what it is. Can
true.
you explain to us what the specific goal is there?
Education is one of our number one goals. So we do education, mentoring, which is another huge goal. We also provide scholarships. We have an endowment that will help us provide more scholarships. It's really to get more women in the trades. So if you look at that organization, so in North America, where women in HVACR, they have a great one in Canada, very similar. And the thing is, these are women that work in all different areas of the trades. So when we have our board of directors, it's built on contractors, it's built with folks that work in supply, distribution, marketing, anything that touches HVAC or refrigeration, we have a spot for these folks. There's about 1,400 members now. It's been in existence since, I want to say Ruth King started it. A lot of people know Ruth King for she's called the Profit Guru, and she was the lady that actually started Women in HVACR, and we have grown so much through the years that now when we put on a conference, we have to have room for 600 folks, and they're not all women. We have so many men that support us that it's amazing. So this organization will take it could be a service tech in a truck that wants to get mentored by a business owner or maybe another operations manager or someone like that. Or it could be someone in marketing that wants to move their career. It could be somebody that works in our supply chain, or maybe somebody that works for Nate. I mean, it's all the different areas that pull us together as a group. And what kind of binds us is women in the industry. And so we're going to be in Epic February 12th. And what we'll do is we have a booth there in Las Vegas, and we will talk to folks who are coming through. If they haven't joined our membership, then we will talk to them about what we can provide for them. And nowadays in the trades, you look at the numbers. And I mean, are we like 4% women that are actual technicians in the field? And then you might go up to as high as 12% with women, and that's all across the board. And we have some superstars. Not only are they women owners of their own companies, but they could be vice presidents of, whether it's maybe Carrier or Mitsubishi or American Standard, whatever the case
Mhm.
may be, whatever you sell. So all of these women together, we provide training, development, education, and we have an endowment that what we try to do is not only raise money with this endowment, but then we can provide more scholarships. So we're currently and have been over the last couple of years providing six $5,000 scholarships. And it could be if you're in a trade school, if you're anything to do with HVAC or refrigeration, you can apply and we have 30, 40. And when I say young ladies, they could be at any age. We've had women go into this trade in their and even later. And some of those success stories are amazing. You know, I've won a scholarship. I've attended Women in HVACR, and 3, 4 years later, they're opening up their own companies. When you look at the mentorship side of things, like I would mentor a business owner, a service tech, and an operations manager. And I loved it because I would not only learn from those 3 ladies, but there are different things that I could help them with. And a great example is the service tech. She is a writer and she now writes articles for the ACHR news. And so we're able to do some introductions. We know that she knows her trade extremely well because she goes out and works her trade every day. And sometimes nights and weekends, she's writing articles. And if she has those opportunities to connect with people, she can be very successful. And I think her goal at one point was to, actually become a writer for one of the trades magazines.
Mhm.
So you take a look at what this organization can do to help bring up women in the because we need them in our workforce. We need them in our workforce. And you'll see that comfort advisors, sales folks, sometimes HR operations managers, they make just frankly better people to work in this environment, when they go out to the home or they're dealing with their employees.
Yeah, no, for sure. I truly believe that what you guys are doing is amazing there. And, just building that community is so important. I know just a lot of people nowadays have a hard time, just even getting out the door. Everyone's like staying home and all that kind of stuff. And just like a lot of communications online. But, what you guys have built is a community and, just helping each other. I feel like that is so important, especially in the business world, because, you can go through it all by yourself and like try and try and try. There's gonna be so many bad days, but when you have that community around you, that people and that support around you, it definitely helps, and, it just about helping each other strive to be successful, right? So, I think what you guys do is amazing. If you are a woman in the workforce, go take a look for sure. Lori, you've built multiple successful businesses in totally different industries. Here's a
Yeah.
question that I absolutely love asking everyone. If you had a magic wand right now and could erase one operational friction point in Eagle Pipe right now, whether it's the after hour calls or the parts logistics or dispatch puzzle, what would it be?
So, challenge is always staffing. It is always staffing. I would love to wave my magic wand and make sure that any employee that walks in the door or any potential or future employee, they understand just the sheer amount of opportunities in this industry. And I think they come in going, it's a job and it's a paycheck. And I need them to get 100% all in. Because if you're 100% all in, I'm 100% all in. My gosh, what we can do to not only grow the company, grow their career, grow their banking account. And that's what I really struggle with. Like, we have some great people, but I don't know that they necessarily want to come all in. And they're like, well, it's a job. And I'm like, you have no idea how successful. And you take a look at folks that join in our industry, and maybe it's not in the crawl spaces, or maybe it's not in the truck. I mean, you can come in once you learn about all those different areas, you can go anywhere you wanna go. You could be, whether you run a call center or you become the marketing manager, or maybe you're the community person that goes out to all the chambers and the builders, and there's just so many avenues, and I think people don't necessarily take advantage, and I'm not even gonna categorize it by age group or Gen Z or Gen Y or whatever. I'm a boomer, so my work ethic is way different than the majority of people.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to have the same work ethic that I do, but what I do expect is for them to take a look at opportunities available and say, "Hey, if this is what I wanna do, be all in. Come in and let us help
Yeah.
you become more successful."
No, it's about showing up every day and giving it your all. I truly believe that come from sports and everything like that, but not only just in sports, but in business. I was talking to a fellow general contractor, Malcolm, and he told me the story where he sat on a plane with this guy and I think he was an electrician or something, but he was just saying how much he, like, hated his job and all that kinda stuff, and just, like, for 3 hours on the flight was just complaining, 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 And Malcolm's like this huge general contractor in Florida, and he was saying, he's like, "If that guy asked me who I was, I would have given him a job, like a better job. Like I would easily would have could have given him a way better job out in Florida and everything like that. But he just sat there and complained about his job and just did not care who'd ask even who I was. So just like the simplest things of just like showing up, not even to work every day, but just in general in life, just making sure that you're giving it your 100% at all times, and you never know the opportunity there is out for you. So, we're going back to you saying you wish people can understand the opportunity when they come to work. Like there is always opportunity. You just got to make that opportunity for yourself. I got one last question here before we wrap everything up. You've proved that your skills transfer. You can go from burgers to jewelry to pipes, like you mentioned. For the person listening who feels stuck in their current industry and thinks it's too late to switch the trades, what is one thing they need to master to make that jump successfully?
I think you need to have good communication skills. You need to network and you need to put yourself out there. So, McDonald's, I grew up in it. I was their 16-year-old crew person behind the front counter, and I grew up in McDonald's, and I was very successful to go from standing at the front counter to creating a $10 million company that I sold and retired. When I got done with that one, I was like, okay, I can't afford myself. I'm traveling the world, and at the time, I was probably about 52, and to me, that was too young to retire. Now, in hindsight, I should have just taken my money and said, "Forget it. I'm not working anymore," but I didn't do that. So, started, Pandora and got into it, and I thought, "This is probably not my best business moment." I loved the jewelry. It was quality. I struggled more with, kind of their philosophy in North America. And the minute they put in that you could buy online, it killed us as a franchisee because, well, why come into the store? I can buy online. Or if I do go to the store, I want to touch, feel, look at, but I'm not going to necessarily purchase right then and there. They have since resolved that. So with a lot of I don't know how many franchisees they have left because I know they did a lot of different things with then turning them into corporate stores where then you could go in and then you could order online right then and there. But I learned some valuable lessons. I learned that this was not my thing. I didn't like it. I didn't like paying $500,000 for inventory and let it sit for a couple months before I could start selling it. That money is better used in the bank or, in other areas. But when I stepped
Mhm.
into this job, I had to learn it. And I knew about construction because I've built McDonald's restaurants. I had to build out my Pandora jewelry stores in two different walls. So I'm always working with contractors and electricians and working with all the trades. So I knew how to talk to them. I know when I started, I had people saying, "Well, you can't do that." I'm like, "What do you mean I can't do that?" "Well, you can't come into this industry." And I said, "Yes, I can, because this industry is the same as all these other industries. It's how you approach it, how you communicate, and absolutely, it's who you know. And it's the
Mhm.
networking that helps you to become better at what you do. And you're surrounding yourself with people that are running either great businesses or they're doing great things. And the last thing I'll say is get yourself a coach. You need a coach. And you in your sports career, you know how valuable a coach was. Anybody that is sitting out there today in the trades that owns a company, wants to own a company, wants to move their company forward, get yourself a coach because they will be the ones that will help you get to those next levels and get over those, 2 million roadblocks. And then I want to take my company to 5 million. And why can't you take your company to 50 million? It's what you should be looking at.
Yeah, the big picture. No, that's amazing. Thank you so much for that advice. I'm sure a lot of people listening are going to be really happy to hear that. And I know for myself personally, it's really insightful stuff. So thank you again, Lori. That was amazing. Unfortunately, that is all the time we got for today. For anyone looking for a career or just needs their heat pump fix, what's the best way to find you guys?
So you can go to our website, which is www.eaglepipemechanical.com. And that's probably because we have all of our information there and has all of the folks. You can chat in. There's a lot of things. You can also email, call our office, those type of things. Depends upon where you're located. If you're located on the Olympic Peninsula, awesome. If you're located in Seattle, we can talk. If you're located in another state, could be a challenge.
Yeah, fair enough.
You're up in
For
Victoria.
the Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. Maybe up here, maybe up here.
well, you've got
Yeah, you
you've
guys would
got
take a
some
ferry.
great companies up there too.
But yeah. Yeah, no, I'm trying to reach out to them. I wanna get them on as well.
I'll
For
get
the
you up.
women
Hey,
listening, how would they find the women in H
same thing. So go to their website. It would be womeninhvac.org, and you can go online, and then it'll tell you all about not only the organization, but also all of the things that they can join and become a part of. And if you're up in Canada, you can do, I'm going to guess it's very similar with Women in HVACR of Canada. And they're amazing. But I'll get you the name of a rock star company up in Victoria that I have worked with. So,
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Thank you
yeah.
so much. I'll put all those links in the show. And from the bottom of
Sure.
my heart, Lori, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come on with us today. Very educational, and I loved every minute of it. So thank you again. And for everyone listening, keep building, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.
Bye.